Okay. So it's 6:17 now. We're 2 minutes late. We can probably start now.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe so. Everyone, this is Bobby here.
Hi everyone. My name is
He's our
Bobby.
guest for today.
Yes.
And today we're going to talk about living and working life in Korea with him.
Yes. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor for me to be able to be your speaker for today with Dwikha Setia Foundations. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, and thank you for coming as well.
Yes.
So maybe tell me a little bit about yourself first for everyone.
Okay, so my name is Bobby. My full name is Eka Bobby Saputra, as you can see in my screen now. I'm currently in Korea. I used to be a student here or a master student, but now I'm working in one of the pharmaceutical company in South Korea, and I live in Seoul, the main city of Korea, South Korea. Maybe, yeah, my introduction is still until here. The rest, I will answer your question, Alice.
Okay. So you go to Korea for your master's.
Yes, of course.
And did you major in pharmacy then?
No, so my career start from, my studies start from the metallurgical engineering. So I finished my bachelor degree in Universitas Indonesia. And after that, after I finished 3.5 years, and then I apply for the Korean government scholarship program, or we usually call it as KGSP. So through that program, I took a master degree in Yongnam University, one of the universities in South Korea. But before that, I also took 1 year of Korean class. So I took 1 year Korean class and 2 years of master degree. So in total of 3 years. And after that, now I'm working in Korea like that.
Okay. So did you choose Korea specifically, or how did you come to that decision?
To this company or to Korea?
I would say first when you were still in Indonesia and then you decide to come to Korea.
Ah,
Like what
okay.
made
It's pretty funny story, by the way. Like, because actually, to be honest, I'm not even planning to go to Korea at all at the first time, because I have some of my relatives that have LPDP, and most of them goes to Europe for the next step of their school, so for master, for doctor. So in my mind, I only think about, okay, I need to go to Europe, or yeah, USA, or maybe Australia. But during my last semester in University Indonesia, on February, if I'm not mistaken, at that time, the my professors asked me to submit my paper, to submit my thesis, and in the English abstract, of course, to Korea, to one of the campus in Korea, which is my campus at that time. That is Yongnam University, because my professors is also get his master degree, if I'm not mistaken, from that campus. So he sent that my thesis to that campus, and at that time, me and other four of my friends, so in total of five of University Indonesian students with five professors from University Indonesia, in total of 10 people, we go to Korea. And at that time, we have a very short, like an exchange program, so we sharing about our thesis and anything. At that time, I met one of the professor in Yongnam University, which then introduced me to the KGSP program. So after that, I read the brochure, I checked the internet, what is KGSP? Because I really don't know about KGSP at all. And since that time, so I tried to apply to KGSP, and thank God now I'm in Korea. So
awesome?
I really don't have any plan to Korea at all, to be honest.
But it's got sent though, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you first moved to Korea, did you go to Seoul right away? Is Yeongnam in Seoul? Because sorry, I don't
No,
know
yeah.
Korea.
So Yeongnam is in the city called Daegu, and Daegu is in the southern side of Seoul, southern side of Seoul. Maybe if you all ever heard about Busan, the other big city in South Korea, and Daegu is near Busan. So my campus, the Yongnam University, is on that on around that area. And I actually just stay in Seoul when I'm working, when I start working. So I live in Seoul not even a year until now. I live in Seoul start from November last year, because before that I live in Daegu, the one that I told you, the one Yongnam University. And the other one, for my Korean language, I stay in the city called as Daejeon, which is in the middle of Korea, in the middle of South Korea. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So how long has it been? Like since then till now?
May I came here since 2016 August, so it almost 4 years. So this August it will be my fourth year.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah, it's to be exact. It is 24 of August. 24 of August will be my fourth year.
Less than a week from now.
Yeah. Correct.
So maybe after 4 years of living there, maybe you now speak the language?
Yes, now I speak the Korean language as well because it's a basic needs in my office. So every time in my office, I talk to my partner, I talk to my mentor, I talk to my boss with Korean language. Even though my team is a global team, which makes them able to speak English, of course, but for them it's much comfortable to use Korean, even though my Korean is not good, but they are prefer to listen to my Korean instead of my English, because maybe it's somehow easier for them, even though the Korean is my Korean is not that good.
Yeah, you're just being probably. They
No,
probably
no, no, really, really. In my company, if I may tell you, there is a lot of other Indonesians. So in my company, in total of 11 Indonesians, we work in different divisions. And in my office, maybe they are much, much better than me. Still, so many people better than me.
So I guess in your company they also accept Indonesians. Maybe someone from here can also work there as well one day.
Oh, maybe one of my friends watching me right now. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
hello
because
there. Just a
because my because my company works a lot in Indonesia, and we want to like approach Indonesia more, so they recruit a lot of Indonesians as well. Yeah, but the division is very it's very different. So me in global, and others like in some in medical device, and others in other projects, something like that.
okay. So anyway, when you first moved there,
Yeah.
what do you think are the challenges that comes with it?
The first challenge for me is, of course, the culture shock. First, the basic culture shock is about, because I'm as a Muslim. In Korea, they almost have no religion. Most of them have no religion. So, but the good way, as they have no religion, so they have an open-minded, I guess. I mean, but the most difficult thing that I feel at the first time I arrived in Korea is to have halal food, or at least not even halal, but at least to stay away from pork. It's kind of hard at first time. Yeah, it's kind of hard for the first time, but after that, I already know the language as well, so I can ask, I can notice whether it is consistent with pork or not. But the other things that makes me shocked is maybe there in Korea, they have pali pali culture. It means everything they do, it needs to be done in a quick way, in a very short time. So Korean people likes do everything very fast, and one of them is, for I give you a story that is very, maybe for Indonesian like us, is very weird. You know, for example, you take a taxi. In Indonesia, you will never ever get yelled by the taxi driver, right? I mean, like,
Of course.
you're the one that called that taxi, you're the one that paid the taxi, so you will never get yelled by him or her. But here, no. if you are taking so long time just to get out from the taxi, then the taxi driver will be angry to you. And they even can yell at you like, come on, just go out. Why you stay here so long? I need to find another passenger. Like they really can say like that. That's what shocks me at the first time.
Okay, they're very efficient, huh?
Yeah. Some
That's
of
actually
their
naturally.
culture is good, some of them still makes me shocked. Especially like that.
Yeah, maybe there's something that the subtleties in the culture that maybe you just noticed now.
Right now, the culture that I just noticed, oh, maybe because I'm now working in the office.
Mhm.
So now I'm still trying to get used to the, how people in Korea get interact in the office. It's very different how you interact with your friends in the school area or in office. And in Korea, I thought that the hierarchy is so long. I thought, like, because in Korea, basic Korean language as well, we already learned that to talk to older people and to talk to the people with the same age, we have a different language. We have a different style of language. I think that's maybe one of the reason what makes us becomes a little bit harder or more difficult to get to know to our boss. Not like in Indonesia. Maybe in Indonesia we can just get along with our boss, get along with our friends like pretty easy because the language is same. We don't have any, what is it, like a spatial treatment to each other. But here, for the older or those who are above us, like our boss, of course, our
Years.
mentor, for example, you need to use that kind of the polite language, grammar, I think. Polite language grammar, which is in Indonesia, we don't know, we don't separate our language to be a polite or non-polite language. But here, we we separate it into polite and non-polite, so kind of complicated to get close to them. But fortunately, in my team, almost all still young. Even the Korean is still young, so we can get close to each other.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, maybe something similar to the Japanese culture. I heard there's
yeah,
also
pretty similar. I guess pretty similar. Japan, Korean, China. Basically, they even share a same root of words. They seem the same root of words, which is all from the Chinese characters actually. But how they pronounce and the meanings is different. But the basic words itself is similar to each other.
mm. Okay, so how did you learn to overcome those struggles?
In my office right now, as I talked to you previously, I have so many other Indonesians right now. So sometimes during my break time, I always sit with them and talk to them like what just happened to me today or what's our yeah we just share our work sometimes. So it makes more easier. But during my campus life, in my campus life, I also have so many Indonesian at that time. So because I think in campus life it's kind of special to face your professors. So maybe for your informations to everyone in here, in Korea, for you who take an engineering class, especially engineering class, you might work under your professor inside the lab. It requires you to obey every single professor's command, and it's very different what we in Indonesia do. So at that time, there's so many orders, so many things that sometimes I cannot even understand, or I mean like the the order itself is I think it's impossible order. But to get through it, thank God there is so many other Indonesian friends, so I asked their help. So yeah, it's quite different with the people who came to the university with the other background, not engineering, or yeah, maybe from the social background. They kind of different. For the social background, maybe they just go to in like Europe, like they go to the class, and after class is done, they go back to home, and they can work from home, they can work from the library, something like that. But for me, based on my experience as an engineer students, we need to stay in the lab, we need to do experiments, and even sometimes there is no holiday at all. So even though the school is on holiday, but as a postgraduate students, we don't have any holidays. Why? Because we need to work in the lab during almost whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds hard.
that's Korean. So I'm not right now. I just realized that I'm not wondering why Korea has so many good technology. You can name it like Samsung, Hyundai. You can name it Kia or anything because their culture is like that. So I'm not wondering why they're so good at research.
They're hard workers.
Yes, they're hard workers. They almost doesn't know holidays actually.
But hey, it's
To
good
be
that
honest.
you have your support group, your friends.
Yes,
I think that's kind of important moving into a new country. Yeah.
yes. That's very important for me. Since I
So
know
how did you?
myself as an extrovert person, since I
Mhm.
know myself is an extrovert person, so for me, the best support system is to find a friends.
Of course, of course. So how about finding a job there? How did you come to your job at the moment?
So in South Korea, there is a job fair as well, like in Indonesia, but in Seoul, especially in Seoul, they before corona happens, of course, before corona happens, they always make a job fair for foreigner, so they even make an event really just for foreigners. So the event is like a job fair and they open it, I think, twice a year, because you graduate twice a year. So there is in the summer, as I'm sorry, in spring and in fall. So I applied during summer to fall season at that time in one of the biggest department store in Korea in Seoul. The name is Kgsp. Maybe one of you who've ever been went to Korea and you've been to Kgsp, maybe you've been heard this name because it's very popular, because in that mall also there is a very big like a museum for the SM Town. Maybe you ever heard Super Junior Agency. Yeah. So yeah, I apply my job there through the job fair program, and also there is another job fair which hold by the KGSP. So the KGSP is the scholarship from government, which is the what is educational Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education also makes that kind of job fair for the KGSP awardee. So you have two chance for the foreigner to join that big job fair, but the other, there is so many job fair as well. Also, you can apply the job from internet. But the problem through internet that you need to make everything in Korea. So you need to make your CV in Korea. You need to make like what is it? Introduction letter in Korea. Everything in Korea. If you apply from internet, maybe that's the difference.
Okay. But it's good to hear that the KGSP scholarship is very supportive. Yeah, they even give
Yes,
job fairs as well.
yes, because KGSP from the beginning is supported by the government. So there is so many benefit that you can get if you are a KGSP awardee. Not only you get offer to join the job fair, but right now, as it's written in the poster, my visa is now F2 visa. So that visa also I get the benefit from the KGSP as well. As a
Mm,
KGSP, I have uh, what is it? Privilege to
privilege.
get that visa easier. Yes.
So are there any other options as well? Because you have to make that switch, right? From a student visa to
Yes.
work visa. How did that
Yep.
happen?
So during my Korean language class, my visa status is D4, Delta 4. And then when I was in my master, I changed to Delta 2, D2. And but the same delta is not that hard to change between the delta. Delta 4 to delta 2 is okay. And then after that, I go to working preparation. So after job finding preparation. So after I graduate, I change my visa to D10, but this D10 is only allow me to do internship, not as a full or a part-time. I'm sorry, not part-time, a full employee, not as a full employee. To be a full employee in Korea, you need to apply for the visa in category E, Eco. So you need
Okay.
to apply for the category E. There is E7, E9, E1, 2, 3 until 9. And
Okay.
most of them, for my case, I need to apply E7. But E7 is only lasts for 1 year, and you need to prolong, you need to extend every year, and that visa is attached to your company. What I
Okay.
mean by attaching to your company means that if you change to other company, then this visa will be automatically terminated, and you need to apply for the new visa using your new contract with your new company. That's the e-visa, because it's totally like a working visa. But me, I jump from the D10 to directly to F2, to the F. F is for permanent residence. So I prolong maybe every 1 year as well. But in F2, there is three category. You can prolong every 1 year, or every 3 year, or every 5 years. It depends on the immigrations. But I just get 1 year. So after 1 year, I need to extend it again. But F2 or F category means that as a permanent resident, the visa is attached on you. So no matter you go to other company, you don't need to change your visa at all, because that visa is attached on you. Something like that.
Mm.
But
That sounds awesome.
yeah, but the visa from D, E, or F, if
Hmm.
you get one of them, you can just go out and go in freely without. But this time, because of Corona, of course, it becomes much more difficult. You need
Of
to
course, of
make some
course.
report. You need to show them the your airplane tickets before you go out from this country. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So it turns out the time is now for discussion.
Yes.
Maybe if there's any other questions from the audience.
I'm gladly to accept any discussion. If you have any questions, maybe.
If you have any question, you can raise your hand or text me and turn on your video. Okay. Meanwhile, we're opening that question for the audience. Maybe I want to ask about the COVID-19 pandemic there.
Yes,
As in, how are
great.
the authority handling it?
So now, wait, I will check the real-time data in the internet right now. It shows 246 new patients for 2 days in Korea. And recently in Korea there is one big what people say it's like a second wave, but it's coming from there is a one church in Seoul that there is one patient come out from there which has been diagnosed as a positive patient. But after the police check throughout the CCTV and everything, they don't put the mask during their praying time. So at that time, until now, all the Korean government is now trying to track the people who went to that church to get tests. And it's already been 3 days since the first patients. So now in Korea is almost about 200 patients every day since 2 days ago.
That's still
Two
pretty
days
low
ago,
compared to
200.
Indonesia.
Yeah, 2 days ago is 279, and yesterday is 179. I'm sorry, 197, and today is 246, and more than 50% is from Seoul, from my place.
So you gotta be extra careful, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we got a question from Niputu Diani. Maybe you wanna turn on your mic and ask the question.
Should I just read the chat or?
Oh, okay, yeah. She just wants
Okay.
me. So what she's
Okay.
asking is, how long do you need to learn the language, and what media or app
Okay.
do you use?
So hello, Putu Diani. Nice to meet you. So I learned the Korean language in Chungnam National University. So if you are a KGSP awardee, the program includes you to 1 year of Korean language and the other 2 years for the master degree or the other 3 years for doctoral degree. It's based on your program. So it's already includes in your scholarship program, and you need to be able to pass through at some point of Korean language. We call it as topic. Topic is a test of proficiency of Korean language, something like TOEFL or IELTS, but in Korea. And you need to pass topic 3 from the total of 6 level. So if you pass topic 3, then you can continue your journey to master or your doctoral university. But if you fail under 1 year, then unfortunately you need to go back to your country, something like that.
A lot is at stake.
So yeah, so during that 1 year, all of me and all of my friends are working very hard to learn the language, watching dramas, singing the song, reading a book, everything.
Of course, of course.
And our language class is every day, 4 hours each day from Monday to Friday.
Mm. Does that answer your
First
question?
your patience.
Okay. Let's move on to the next question from Marvela Geraldine. Do you want to ask the question yourself, or do you want me to just read it?
Um, I want to ask myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
In your case, what does the scholarship covers in terms of expenses, and then your living in Korea? Hello?
Okay. Yeah, hello. Okay, I can hear you clearly. So, hello Marvela Geraldine. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
So, what KGSP scholarship covers? KGSP is a full scholarship program. So, to everyone who doesn't know KGSP covers almost everything from the plane that you went to Korea and when you go back to your country again after you graduate. And they also give you 1 million won for every month for the stipends, for the living costs. And if you pass topic 5 at the end of your Korean language, you can get more 100,000 won more. So in total of 1.1 million won. It's maybe equals to almost 15 million rupiah each month. And during oh, I'm sorry, every 6 months, engineering students and social students, the natural science students and the social students have also like another extra fee. If I'm not mistaken, for the natural sciences, you will get 280,000 won. It's similar to 3 million rupiah maybe. And for the social studies, you will get 240,000 won, about 2.5 million rupiah, once every 6 months during your program. For master, you will get for 3 times. For doctoral degree, you will get 5 times. And then after you finish your degree, if you decide to go home, then KGSP will buy you a ticket to your home. But if you want to stay like me, then the chance to get the ticket is gone. So it's up to you. At the end of after you graduate, you have 14 days to decide. Because after 14 days, your student visa will be expired. And if you still in Korea, then you will stay in Korea illegally. So that's why during 14 days, you need to report to each of your campus person in charge of KGSP, and then you can tell them that if you want to go home, just tell them that you want to go home. So you can buy your ticket and show them the tickets. They will reimburse your tickets. Also, you will have money to print your thesis in the maximum budget of 800,000 won to each for each person. So you can just print your thesis and bring the receipt, give it to the give to that person in your campus who is responsible in KGSP, and then you can get a reimburse in maximum of 800,000 won. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot. In the first time when you came here to Korea, you will get 300,000 won as a settlement fee. It's around 4 million, maybe 4 million rupiah. Yeah, so it's a full scholarship. Hope it answer your question, Marvela. Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, the next question is from Henry Yansa. Do you want to ask the question yourself? Okay, maybe I'll just ask you the question. So what's the advantages and the disadvantages of living in Korea and studying in Korea, basically?
Studying in Korea, I will talk as a based on my experience as an engineering student. The best thing in Korea is that you can access to many research area, to many research facility. I'm sorry, there is so many research facility in Korea that you don't even need to queue or wait the line to use one equipment. So Alex, may I ask you, what is your major? Are you also engineering students or no?
I was once. My first college was in audio engineering, but of course it's something simple, not like yours.
Okay, at least you're an engineering student, right? So
Yeah.
as an engineering student, you know that we need so many equipments, right? Yeah, what I feel the difference between when I was in University Indonesia and when I was in Korea is the access to the facility is very much easier in here, and every single campus have so many high technology research facilities that you can use, so that will makes your research become easier. And also my other friends also make so many papers, they also publish so many papers because we don't need to wait to make a sample, we don't need to queue the line to use that facility. That's, I think, one of the advantage by studying in Korea. And the disadvantage, I think disadvantage is based on every single personality, because there is no such a major that just full of a good things. You know, everything, there is a good and bad things in every single major. But in my case, maybe I will just say it's because of the culture shock. Again, it's because of the culture shock, because I think as a master degree student, I still think myself as a student. So at that time, I thought like, okay, I will have a holiday if school is off. So my schedule is also off. But no, not at all. If you become an engineering student in Korea, then especially not as an undergraduate, but as a graduate, either you are master or you are doctoral degree, then you need to be prepared. You need to prepare yourself to work in laboratory. So maybe for the listeners here who are same with me with the engineering background, if you are really eager to do research, it's very good. The Korea will be a very good place for you to go. So you can just come here and you can explore your idea, your research in every single research facility in Korea. I think that's the best thing in Korea in studying.
Awesome. They're very resourceful,
Yeah.
huh? Okay. So moving on to the next question, maybe. Cindy Teresia, do you want to ask the question yourself? Okay, so what she's asking is how many students are in one class when you were studying there?
I'm not really into class because, like as I said before, I mostly 90% I work in the lab. But maybe what I can say here that in my lab there is uh, 6 foreigners. In my lab, there is 6 foreigners. 5 are Indonesians. One is from Kenya, and the others, I have 4 undergraduate students from Korea, Korean students. Yeah, and then and I also have two Korean as a master student. So in total of 12 lab member. So we work together almost every day and night. Because Alex, every time there's a little bit funny story during my college life. When I went out from my home and my friends asked me like, Bobby, when will you go home? I always say to them, see you tomorrow. Because I always arrive at home like at 12 or 12:30. It's already the other day. And I came back to the lab like at 10 or 11 in the afternoon.
Tough. Hard
Something like
worker
that.
indeed. So, okay, moving on to the next question. Niputu Diani's question was already answered. Sasha wants to ask about the regulations for studying in Korea.
The regulations?
Yeah, is it difficult?
What do you mean the regulation? Is it you mean the KGSP requirement, something like that?
Maybe I think in general.
Ah.
Maybe if Sasha is here, maybe she wants to clarify as well. What I get from the question is more of if moving to Korea to study.
Because what do you mean by regulations here is no such a very special regulations. You just need to follow everything like it seemed like maybe if you ever heard about LPDP, like you just need an LOA, like a letter of acceptance from your campus, and then you can apply the visa from the Korean embassy in Jakarta, and then you can apply for what I said before, D2 for students. So if you get the D2 students, then you can just go to Korea.
Sorry, can Zulia Rama mute? Okay, thank you. Can you continue?
Yeah, so you just have to get like a letter of acceptance at the beginning, and then you can apply your visa to the embassy of Korea in Indonesia in Jakarta, and then after you get the visa you can just come here, as easy as that. But for KGSP it's a little bit different because just like others scholarship program, you need to make an application, of course, and then you need to go through like interview, and then other selections process, and then after that everything will be covered by the Korean government, including the visa expenses. So you will be free of visa charge. You just need to apply, give your photo, anything, apply to embassy, and then just wait, and you will get the tickets and your visa.
Awesome. That's very lenient and flexible of them.
Yeah. If you got a KGSP, the Korean government will take care of your life here.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to the next question from Tamara Jennifer. If you want to ask the question yourself, maybe.
Yeah, I will ask my question by myself. Hello, Bobby.
Hi,
I
Tamara.
want to ask how much does it cost to live in Korea, and how do you find a place to stay as a student in Korea? Does GGSP provide a place for you, or you must find it yourself before you went there? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. So, how much does it cost to live in Korea? First, it depends. Again, it depends. But I can say, uh, in Seoul, maybe uh, if you always eat outside, not by cooking, maybe you need to expend at least 5,000 won for every single meal. So times 3 times a meal a day, it's like maybe 15,000. So in a month, it could be around 450 or 500,000 won. It's around 6 million rupiah. But you can, of course, save a lot of money if you can cook. If you cook by yourself, because it's pretty cheap. Korea is the heaven for the online shopping. So you can just order everything by online, even rice, even beef, fish, seafood, everything. So it's much cheaper if you store it in your refrigerator and then you cook it by yourself. And then now, how do you find a place to stay as a student in Korea? As a student back at my college time when I was in Daegu in Yongnam University, I have so many Indonesian students. I have so many Indonesian friends. So I asked them to help me to find a home. So KGSP doesn't provide a place or not either give you like recommendations. They just after you graduate from the language program, they will just give you money and you need to take care of that money by yourself. But during language program, you are obligated to stay in the dorm, which already provided by KGSP. But it's not free. So it will be deducted from your monthly allowance. In my case, I was deducted around 140,000 won for my dorm during my Korean language program. But after my Korean language program, during 2 years in Yongnam University, I live outside the campus. I live like in the home with two other of my friends. So in total of three, we share like a big house, and then we pay together. So it makes my life cheaper. Yes, hope it answers the questions, Tamara.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next is a short question from Alista. Um, he or she wants to ask you how many years did you study in Korea? You answered that already, if I'm not mistaken. 3 years, was it?
Yes, I'm here for 3 years. 1 year for Korean study and 2 years for master degree. But if you are doctoral degree, it might depend. Sometimes 3 years. KGSP only pay you for 3 years, but some of students mostly for doctoral degree mostly more than 3 years, like 4 or 5 years, something like that. So the rest of the fourth and the fifth year, you need to find the money by yourself. But for the engineering student, mostly they will be paid by their professors.
Awesome.
Usually like that. Yeah.
Very nice of them. Okay. Moving on to the next question from Sri Winarsi Intanadiratna. Do you want to ask the question yourself, or do you want me to read it? Okay, I'll take it. I read it. So she wants to ask, did you find any trouble when you first learned of the language in Korea? And do you have any advice for those learning Koreans?
Find any trouble? Of course, so many trouble at the beginning, because as I said in the beginning of this program, I never even have a plan to go to Korea. So I never know about Korea at all. The K-pop, the drama, I have never even heard any of Korean actor, actress, or singer before.
Sure.
But since I got the KGSP before I went to Korea, I I study with one of my friends in Universitas Indonesia, and she was a Korean language student. So I asked her to teach me about the basic of the Korean alphabet, which we call it as Hangul. So I learned to read, but I still don't know the meaning, but I learned to read first. So when I went to Korea, I mean, I can read. I can read, but I don't know the meaning. So that's pretty funny. Like I can say anything in paper, I can say anything if I see something, but I don't know the meaning. It's just like a code. It's just like a code. So since I study the Korean language, I listen to many of Korean songs. I watch so many Korean drama up until now, and I'm kind of addicted, to be honest. So it helps me a lot. It helps me a lot to improve my skill. Yeah. Hope it's answered the questions.
So watch Korean dramas, huh? They also help
Yes.
with your language
Korean
capability.
drama, Korean song, yes. It
I
will
guess
help you a
second
lot.
watch for it too.
Yeah.
It does
I
help.
think
It
it's
does help.
pretty. I think it's pretty same with other language, right? Unless like
Yeah.
if you want to learn English, then watch so many like English drama or something. Then you might. Then of course you can be able even to listen to people or even you can speak their language. I think yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Nurlaila Adaro. Uh, she or he wants to ask about the tips if they want to apply for the KGSP award, like how to prepare.
Mm. So hello, Miss Nurlaila Azahro. Nice to see you here. And in my case, KGSP have a two big method to apply. First is we call it as university track. The other one we call it as embassy track. The difference is university track means that you already know your campus target and you already contact the campus, you already contact the professors, and then you apply from that using your professor's name. I mean, professor's recommendations. I'm sorry. And for the embassy track, you still have no idea whether what kind of campus that you want to go. So you just apply to the embassy and you can write down 2 or 3 of the campus that you want to go, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, you will go through the applications. You need to fill out the application form, and after that, you will get an interview. As simple as that. And after that, if you pass, then you will be notified that you're passed. But the things that you need to prepare is the essay. The application form is the most important thing during the applications. So in my case, I write down about my research, my engineering research. So because my research is talking about steel, iron. So at that time, I write down what will I do in Korea, what I'm going to do with this topic, how many papers that I want to make, something like
Mm.
that, and what I expect that I can get in my campus, which I don't get in Indonesia. And there is also a question that will ask you that what will you contribute to Indonesia, or what can you apply to your country after you graduate. This part is very tricky. I heard from my friends that so many people can answer with a very excellent and a very good words. But be careful, guys. You need to be also realistic. So you can make a very good promise, even to yourself, to your country, but make it as realistic as possible. I mean, like everything is possible, but you need to pay attention to the recent issue so that you can make a very realistic goal in your application. I think that's one of the clue that I can say.
Of course, of course. So basically, prepare yourself for the motivation letter and fill in all the forms
Yeah,
and
that's the
be
most important
realistic.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully that
Okay,
answers.
thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next question is from Ivan. One question. If they apply for a master program with KGSP, is it possible to get a double degree or joint degree?
Oh, I just found out not a long time ago. There is one of the KGSP student. She's still a student. She is from Nepal, but she came to my office. She came to my office because she's like an internship, maybe I think, yeah. So at that time, she told me that she's a double degree, so she takes 2 degree, but she's still undergraduate students. So I don't know for the case of graduate students such as master or doctor, is it possible or not? But in my case at that time, it's only possible to choose one major. But to be honest, the major it's already written in each campus, guidebook. So maybe if you go to one campus, let's say it's like, okay, Seoul campus, for example, and in the Seoul campus guidebook, they say double degree program, for example, economy and business. So maybe you can take it if they have that kind of program. But in my case, there is no such a program, so I can only choose one. Hope it answered the questions.
Okay. We only have 5 minutes left, so we'll make this quick. The next question is from Taradiska. Is it harder to find college on your own if we come to Korea without the Kgsp?
Not really. Not really. Because uh, I give an example from my own brother. My brother will come to Korea soon. Tomorrow he will come here from Kgsp. But before that, he just researched by himself to find the campus. So he tried to contact just from the internet. He looks to the professor's name and he sent an email. So he sent his CV and like he asking like, is there any possible spot for me to apply for the scholarship or not? Because the most important information that I can give you here is Korea is very different with maybe others like America or Europe. You need maybe in that area you need to find the scholarship what is it, the scholarship foundation first, then you can choose the campus. But in Korea is not like that. In Korea you can even get scholarship from your own professors, so you can just like applying a job. So if you take a look at the campus website and you find one of the most interesting major that you want to go, choose that major, find the correct professor. You can ask your seniors, you can ask your friends who lives in Korea, watch YouTube, and then you can email to him or her, and you can give them your CV and ask them like, can I apply for the scholarship in your lab? Can I apply for scholarship in your study group? Because each of professors in Korea, they sometimes have their own budget. They usually have their own project, which makes them, they are freely to use it to students, something like that. So it's quite different concept with Europe or with USA or Australia maybe. Yeah, you don't need to find the scholarship foundation first, but you can just contact the school and you can with professors, especially for you who has a engineering background, you can just apply by sending your CV to them.
Yeah, I think most masters they provide a directory on their website where you can browse through for professors and their emails, so you can send them and text them directly.
Correctly.
Okay,
Correct.
moving on to the next question. We have very few time left. Safira Putri want to ask about the difference of the teaching methods in Korea and Indonesia, if there are any.
Teaching methods. I think teaching methods is similar, but the difference is the style of our professors. Again, the style of the Korean people when they ask you to work. You know, they of course will ask you to do something in a very short time. So you need to even like working overtime and to make it the impossible to become possible, something like that. And maybe what I can say another interesting story is that in Korea, in Indonesia, in Indonesia, when we go to a college, when we go to university, we are very close with our friends in the same batch, right? In the same batch. Even we sometimes have a leader of our batch. But in Korea, there is no such a things. In Korea, the boy still needs to go to the military service for 2 years.
Right. It's
It means
mandatory.
they will get separate from their friends for 2 years. It means they will not be in the same batch anymore. So the way they are getting close to each other is very different with us. They're not like they're not even notice that, for example, me and Alice is on the same batch, for example, but I may not know Alice is in my batch because maybe Alice last year went to the military service, and when Alice come back to school and I went to military service, so we may not meet each other until we graduate. It's also possible like that. So it's that the difference is like that. Pretty interesting.
So it's mandatory even for us too, yeah?
Yes, it's mandatory for the boy.
Very tough.
Yeah.
Okay. Two last questions. One is very simple from Niputudiani again.
Yeah.
Is there any age limit to apply for the KGSP scholarship?
Wait, if I'm not mistaken, no, but yeah, I think no age limit.
Awesome.
Not if you are maybe like 60, 70 maybe. But no.
Again,
I
they're
think no.
probably
If I'm
very
mistaken, I think
motivated.
no.
They don't
You can
they don't have age
okay. I can give you, maybe I can chat in here. So everyone who are interested in KGSP, you can search in studyinkorea.go.kr. I already write down in the chat box. You can find it and you can browse from there. You can browse with the keyword of GKS.
Okay. Now then we move on to the last question of the meeting
Yes.
from Aina Adwa. She wants to ask about that. Okay, let me rephrase this again. She wants to be a doctor, but she doubt that she can get a scholarship in medicine. Do they allow for majoring in medicine in Korea?
Yeah. I have two friends that I know. Both of them also girl, and both of them now, one of them taking master, one of them taking both master and doctors, and they are also KGSP. So I'm sorry, the one who takes master is not KGSP, I guess. Oh, two of them is KGSP. Two of them is KGSP. So they learn Korean language within their first year. After that, they will join the camp. They will join the medical faculty to learn to become a doctor. So it's possible. It's possible. Even in KGSP itself, there is also a medical faculty if you want to choose. Yeah, it's very possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They're very encouraging, yeah?
Yes. The
Okay,
thing
I
is
guess
that the only thing that you need to pay attention is the way you make the application form. Every single background has their own what is it? Characteristic of the applications. I mean the way you need to introduce yourself and the way you need to introduce what is your dream if you are accepted as an KGSP awardee. Of course, me as an engineer will be different with Aina who wants to be a doctor. So you may see maybe a lot of tips in YouTube as well, and also a lot of blog spot that you can read from the KGSP awardee as well. Yeah.
okay. So I guess that concludes today's meeting. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Bobby. And there's a
You're
request
welcome.
for
It's
you
my
to
honor.
say your salutations in Korean. The audience want to hear.
Ah. So what do you want me to say?
Some salutations maybe to close and greetings and whatnot.
일단 저를 초대해 주셔서 정말 감사하고요. 그래서 또 여러분들이 나중에 한국에 또 같이 왔으면 좋겠고, 다 성공했으면 좋겠고, 그리고 이번에 모두가 힘든 만큼 다 하루 빨리 다 이겨냈으면 좋겠습니다. 늘 건강하세요.
감사합니다. That's all I know.
Well, you're good, Alice.
I hope the rest cannot, but I try my best.
Yeah.
Okay. Once
So
again, thank you.
what I say is like, thank you for inviting me here, and I hope all of you can go to Korea one day. Hope you can be successful in your own way, and hope you all have a great health. And I hope that this corona will be end soon, so we can all meet together again.
Okay. So to close this event, let's all turn on our cameras and take a picture. I'll take it from here. We'll give it a few moments. Awesome. Good to see you guys.
Nice. It's a very wonderful time and a wonderful experience for me as well. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm sorry if my English is not that good. Because every day I speak in three languages like
Polyglot.
Hope to see you all in Korea. And if you have any questions, you can just contact me through my IG, through my Instagram or Kakao Talk. The ID is same.
Okay. I think we've given it enough time. Let's take a picture. Maybe everyone pose. Okay, you can probably hear the screenshot, right? I'll do it again
Yes.
in case all of you want more. There you go. 5. Okay, thank you very much once again, Bobby, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you very much,
resourceful.
Dwikha Setia Foundation.
Thank you. Panggapsimida.
Thank you.
감사합니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
수고했습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.
다음에 또 만나요.
또 만나요.
만나요.
Maybe if I have any more questions, I'll ask to you directly.
Of course, Alex. Anytime.
Okay, awesome. See you then.
Okay, bye-bye, Alex. Thank you very
Bye,
much.
take care.